This is our biggest adventure yet, driving from Andorra to Spain, through the Pyrenees, 600 kilometers of off-road tracks. After living in our Defender for 2 months and getting comfortable with this lifestyle, we want to expand our skills. Come along on our trip. This is where we start, on the Andorran border. Ben is prepping the car, deflating the tires to 2 bar to have more grip and control on the off-road tracks. We found a road book for this trip to practice our off-road skills in a safe way. We spoke with Mark, the creator of the book, and asked if the tracks were drivable with our big Defender since the disaster with the TED route before. He said it was okay, so we went for it. Here we go, our first off-road baby steps. After only 200 meters, we saw a wild horse on the track, the first of many wild animals to come. A few minutes later, we encountered our first challenge, a hairpin bend. Immediately, we found out the turning radius of the Defender is way too big to drive through in one go. Halfway reversing it is necessary to make it. Luckily, we could practice them a lot, descending about 1,000 meters. We drove a few hours through the mountains, seeing only nature. Then we came across a small village, in the middle of nowhere. We are surprised there are people living here, so far away from shops and society. After mostly descending in the first bit of our route, we climbed our first mountain, up to 22,000 meters. It was impressive and scary, since the path was very narrow and the precipice very steep. We were feeling so uneasy we forgot to film there. We drove down again into the forest, where we found this amazing spot to camp for the night. Stretching our legs and paws was nice after the exciting day. We learned a lot about off-road driving and capabilities of the car. After a good dinner, we head to bed early. Off-roading makes you tired. The next morning, after a freezing night, I get to make my first meters behind the steering wheel, as Ben did all the driving yesterday. It's great to have some coaching, since I have zero experience driving off-road. On this day, we have another new challenge, crossing a small river. This was an easy lesson. Checking the depth before and crossing slowly makes this challenge completed. After driving and meeting no one in the morning, the afternoon is a whole other story. First, we pass one car. Then, a whole group of muddy motocrossers. We get into muddier tracks and even more cars and quads. Before it gets dark, we park the car on top of a mountain for another cold and windy night. The next morning, we wake up in a landscape so misty, it almost seems as if we're not on a mountain anymore. As we get lower, the mist clears up and we get to see the beautiful views again. This day was an easy day, without difficult challenges. We were getting more confident in our off-road skills. I even learned to fly and film with the drone. When we are almost at the end point of today, we see a mud puddle. Ben can't resist and goes straight through it. After driving 3 days of off-road tracks, some rocky, some muddy, some with ditches, we came into a village called Sort. Here we found a restaurant and a hotel to relax, watch Formula 1 and sleep in a warm bed. The Roadbook app gives a lot of recommendations for places to eat and hotels along the way. Also, we haven't had a shower in 7 days, so a shower is necessary. Feeling refreshed, we start off on the next route. This is gonna be a wet one, with rain forecasted for the entire day. After driving a couple of hours in the mud, it was time for a coffee break. We love traveling with our Defender Turtle, as we always have our house and belongings with us. So a coffee break can be whenever and wherever we want. Here we go again, to the muddy tracks. This time we have to go uphill in the mud, which isn't easy and a new challenge for us. And now we are stuck. We reverse and try again several times, but are unsuccessful. We see the cows coming and think they come to rescue us, but unfortunately they run past us. We drove a bit more down and tried it again with more speed. Finally, we made it through! We're back on the rocky track and find a place next to the river to spend the night. The next morning the skies are blue again and we are in the car with good spirits. Mark let us know this trek would be a relatively easy one, with beautiful views. The first bit of our day was easy indeed. When we got above 1600 meters, the track got muddier and presented us with a new challenge. A muddy ditch we couldn't get through. It is time to get out our max tracks. Here we really have to work as a team in order to get the car across the ditch. It was hard to cross because it was slippery and the wheels couldn't get traction. We made it and thought this would be the hardest part of the day. This would prove to be wrong. The track only got muddier and narrower, and the precipice more steep. While Ben was driving as close to the safe side of the track, I was in a state of intense fear. We made it to a place where hikes start and parked the car for a much needed break. There we looked at the rest of the route and decided to drive further instead of back, which would be a lot longer. This track is slightly upwards and has little bumps along the way, which were hard to get over. The back of the car would slide towards the edge, because the wheels had less grip. You can see on my face I am not enjoying myself. The sheep were a nice distraction, and look at this amazing view. After this intense day, we found a campsite in Espot. Time for some fun and games with Buddy, to get all the stress out of our bodies. Cooking a meal together is a nice way to end the day. It was very cold again. We ate it inside the campsite bar and talked about the events of the day.
Wacht. Dat kan niet zo.
The last day of our off-road adventure. We spoke with Mark again, and he assured us there would be no muddy tracks today, as we weren't ready to face that again. Indeed, no mud, easy tracks and beautiful landscapes around us. A big thank you to Mark for all his support along the way. If you have a 4x4 car and would like to drive the same route, you can order it on 4x4discoverytravel.com.